So neurodiversity is the idea that there is naturally occurring variation in the way humans think, that our neurology and our cognitive profiles are naturally diverse in the same way that there's biodiversity across the whole planet, there is neurodiversity in the way humans think.
Neurodiversity is a new and I think quite an exciting concept, a powerful concept that's reframing a traditional way of thinking about neurodevelopmental disorders and conditions to focus on the strengths and celebrate the differences among neurodivergent people.
Neurodiversity isn't a synonym for disability, and neurodiversity isn't an umbrella term for the conditions that we tend to think of or associate with neurodiversity. Neurodiversity includes all of us, including neurotypical thinkers.
Part of neurodiversity naturally means that some people with a particular condition might experience very few difficulties and function very well in society and live independently and work independently, whilst on the other end of the spectrum, individuals, neurodivergent individuals, might well struggle, might need extra support and might even struggle to gain and maintain employment.
The term neurodiversity refers to the naturally occurring variation in the way our minds work. Although the term also includes neurotypical thinkers, it is commonly associated with a range of conditions or neurodifferences, such as dyslexia, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or ADHD, autism, dyspraxia, Tourette syndrome, dyscalculia, and others. These differences in the way our minds work can impact on how we process information, our mood, social interaction, and how we experience the world around us. Although in some people these differences can be debilitating, in others the impacts can be more nuanced. The important thing to remember is that no two people are alike, whether they have a neurodifference or whether they are neurotypical.
I have dyspraxia, which is a learning difficulty that affects coordination and organisation. In my case, it means I'm really untidy.
So I'm diagnosed with autistic spectrum disorder, although I don't like the word disorder, but there's lots of other horrible words in the diagnosis stage. Then
I got diagnosed with possible features of mild Asperger's. I like to be literal with the diagnosis. So basically, I've got mild traits of Asperger's syndrome, so I'm not the best communicator. I take things too literally and sometimes I struggle to read body language.
So I have Asperger's syndrome. I also have dyslexia, and it's not a disability as such, but I also have something called synesthesia as well.
So I have dyslexia. Well, I was diagnosed with dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, and visual stress, also known as Erlin's syndrome.
Accurate diagnosis is not straightforward because these conditions or differences often overlap, and the process of diagnosis is often difficult to arrange and expensive, making figures on the prevalence of neurodivergence in the population very difficult to gauge. Research suggests that in the UK, as many as 1 in 7 of us could be neurodivergent. 10% of the population with dyslexia, 5% with ADHD, 5% with dyspraxia, 5% with dyscalculia, 1 to 2% are autistic, and 1% with Tourette syndrome.
Just take a quick look at this, just to make sure it's okay. It's a job spec for the assistant site manager role.
You are aware this was supposed to be in by Friday?
Oh, I know, but I completely forgot. Is it all right?
I suppose it's all right if you're a 5-year-old. Did you write this?
I'm a bit dim when it comes to writing reports and stuff.
What does this mean? This bit?
I'm not sure.
The overlap between neurodiversity and mental health is quite complex. We know, for example, that an extraordinary amount of autistic and ADHD people experience anxiety. Now, is that because anxiety is part of those conditions, or is that anxiety driven by a lifetime of exclusion? You know, it's a chicken and egg question. What causes what?
I don't know if the anxiety is from years of not being treated very well.
I went through depression and anxiety and the low mood swings. And the depression part of it, to be honest, it's only through pandemic that I got to understand that anxiety and fear and panic were all part of mental health, and I just thought it was something you cope with.
Come on, you two. We've got a site inspection this afternoon.
Claire, maybe you can help. What do you think this is?
What? The person in have to not in. This is complete rubbish.
Can I be back,
Hang
please?
on. Is this the job spec for the new assistant? We were supposed to check it and add comments, not rewrite the whole thing.
Thanks a lot, Rowan. Why not just pin it up on the notice board and then everyone can have a good laugh?
That's the best idea you've had all week.
Is he a bit thick or what?
I think he dislikes other people to do his work for him.
Yeah.
The language around neurodiversity is really interesting. I mean, it's like any form of equality, diversity and inclusion. Language is part of the narrative of how we're constructing and reconstructing truth and identity around those experiences.
I can't begin to tell you how many people called me thick at school. Even the teachers kind of said it. So why would I think any different?
The same way that we would, refer to people when trying to ask them about their names or nicknames or about gender, is that it's really an individual issue that you sort of tackle on a person-by-person basis rather than making assumptions about what language to use.
It's up to you to keep yourself educated, to find out how people prefer to be identified, and to use language that people find respectful, and also to acknowledge that not everybody likes the same language.
I'm autistic. I'm not a person with autism. I don't suffer with autism. I haven't achieved what I've achieved in my life despite being autistic. I am autistic, that's it.
People get very worried about that, like they do with all kinds of language. Have I said the wrong thing? Have I used the wrong term? And you know what? There's absolutely nothing wrong with getting it wrong and then genuinely saying, oh, I'm really sorry. Okay, I'll update my language, just as you would with anything else.